What's going on, you guys? Like, what you guys to the channel? She wore Big Dog back with another one take review, and today I got one for the season 2 finale of Gen V, in which I'm not gonna lie, my expectations were kind of high for this because I've really been enjoying this season, mainly because of the villain this season, which is Cypher, who we obviously know is Godolkin, who now is back into his body. He's got everything he wants. Almost. Okay. He was out at the, not even, I don't want to say the finish line, but like, he was there. Everything was going according to plan until he wants to take the plan into his own hands. Now, the thing I've loved about Cypher / Godolkin this entire season is that we have a competent villain. To me, he was shaping up to be one of the best villains throughout this entire universe of the boys. One is because he was steps ahead of everybody, and the fact that he didn't make stupid, dumb, careless mistakes. Well, it only lasts so long, though, right? Yeah, you can't have this guy be too good. You know what I'm saying? You have to have him make certain mistakes. Now, essentially, we end up learning that Doug was only the second puppet, and that Godolkin has been doing this for a while. We see that he took like some, I think it was called V1, or the same V that Starlight and Soldier Boy took, to where he really doesn't age that much. This guy's is destined to be around for a while, but we saw where the burn marks came from. But nonetheless, Doug has been his puppet for about, I don't know, 20 some odd years, 20, 30 some odd years. It's pretty depressing. Well, I think it was 28 years to be exact, because this takes place in 2025. I think it was 28 years to be exact, which is actually pretty sad because everybody that Doug knew is pretty much gone at this point. Or just don't fuck with him. This guy, he remembers everything that happened to him while he was doing what he was doing. He was torturing people. Obviously, I thought like, hey, he like, takes over their body, but he does. But at the same time, you're like you said, like Jordan said, like, you're in the backseat of your own car and you seeing all this stuff happen. It's just super unfortunate. I can't imagine the horrors that this guy's probably had to live with and deal with his entire life. But nonetheless, he's back. Godolkin's fucking Sister Sage, you know what I'm saying? Not mad at Sister Sage, do love her some, you know what I'm saying, some nice, some sexy times, you know what I'm saying? Now, a couple things that like Godolkin, some points that he made throughout this episode, I'm not necessarily mad at. You know what I'm saying? One, when he was talking about Homelander and like Homelander's ego and how he doesn't want any competition. That way they settle for mediocrity and like this superhero verse. It's just like, it's the way he went about it. You know what I'm saying? It's just, that's always the bad thing. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, but like, he's true. Like, people like the Deep and some of their standards are just like, damn, we kind of is just like letting anybody do whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are we doing? You feel me? Like, we not. Like, let's be honest, they're not as good as they could be. You know what I'm saying? For a bunch of reasons, like a bunch of other reasons too. But nonetheless, everybody's trying to wonder like how we gonna get this guy. But Godolkin makes himself very known to the displeasure of Sister Sage. So he's like, hey, our students, come holler at me. We got one more course. We're going to get this thing back right. You know what I'm saying? We're going to make Godolkin University be the best it can be. And all of you have the potential to be great suits. Yeah, okay. Also, Doug died. Kind of feel like I buried the lead on that one. Yeah, Doug died. He got killed by Black Noir, who ended up picking him up. Black Noir was actually a fan of Polarity, because that was kind of really unfortunate. And to Doug, I'm not gonna lie, like I kinda was like feeling for him. I'm not gonna even lie, bro. That wasn't the way that wasn't the way you wanted to see him go. No, we didn't know the character of Doug, but like, damn, that's just like, I think it kind of like goes unnoticed, kind of like how tragic of a story that is. Like I said, like the guy's been being controlled for 28 odd years, and yes, he happened to be free, but he's on the way to the hospital to get healed up, possibly can restart his life. He's just murdered. That sucked. You know what I'm saying? I didn't. I'm not gonna say I didn't like that. I understand this is the world that it's in. It's just kind of like, it was unfortunate to see him. That's all I'm saying. Now, obviously Polarity, he's there. But Sister Sage is kind of like thrown off about what Godolkin's doing, and so she frees Polarity, who pretty much has the only power to stop Godolkin. Another thing about Doug, man, Doug was telling Polarity about like it's about Andre, man. I thought that was a nice touch to the episode, man. It gave something. It took back from all like the craziness and you know what I'm saying, stuff that had been happening, just like had a moment between two characters, stuff like that. I appreciate more when it happens and stuff like this, because sometimes it can get like a little carried away with all the, you know, hoopla and shit like that. But nonetheless, these students are called to this course to where essentially I thought he was controlling all of them, but he was just, at first he started using all of them to fight each other. And he wanted to really test his powers and not necessarily theirs. He wanted to test out his powers and controlling all of them while increasing his strength, because at the end of the day, he still wants to control Marie. The reason he wants to control Marie, because hey, if I can control her, I can control Homelander. That's his whole train of thought. And he's training himself in order to do so. It's just, why is that the first thing you decide to do? That's just that where kind of like, okay, I'm gonna have to chalk it up to overconfidence. That's what I'm gonna have to chalk it up to, because you can go do this, just not right now. You can get plenty of training to the point where you're able to do that. Why is that your first order of business? Soon as you get out, like, yes, you want to test your powers to their full capabilities, but you need to wait. Get in good. Get like a couple other people that you can control. You know what I'm saying? Wait, bide your time, like he's been doing, and then go after Marie. Then after you get out, then at that moment you'll probably be ready for her. Once you see you're ready for her, then go after Homelander. But nonetheless, the plan was working for a while. Marie shows up, and he at some point, like they use the black hole. That show should be getting too much for me. Sometimes I'm not gonna lie. Nonetheless, they all snuck in through his ass, and I saw when it was starting to happen. I'm like, oh, they all in his ass. Okay. And then they actually managed to put up a really good fight until he was able to control Marie, one of the most powerful supes in history. And he was doing very, very well. And he would have won if it wasn't for Polarity. If it wasn't for Sister Sage's betrayal, this guy gets the job done. Which leads me to believe maybe Sister Sage was wrong. In the perspective from Godolkin. Because I get where she's coming from. Like, this is not how you tell Homelander. This is like, but now she's still gonna have to face the consequences of Godolkin and her knowing about that with Homelander. Yeah, that and that, because Homelander obviously, once again, ego, he wants to know everything that's going on. So if this happens, you're gonna be wondering like, hey, what were you doing this entire time with this guy behind my back? It's one of those things where it's like, you gotta we really have to see like the fallout of that whole situation. Nonetheless, Polarity was able to come through and help stop him, and well, Victoria Newman him. Like that's the best way to define it. She Victoria Newman him, and that's it. And now they all on the run, and now they linked up with Starlight and that boy A-Train. Finally, A-Train is like, you know, doing something of meaning, like, you know what I'm saying? He's finally in this shit, like fully, you know what I'm saying? And so now they are part of the resistance, which I heard that's what essentially what season 5 is going to be against this group of rebels going against this, you know, the big powers that be that has everybody rooting for them, even though they do a lot of wrong. No social commentary there. Nonetheless, really enjoyed this. Only thing, I'm not gonna lie, I do feel like we killed off Godolkin simply because, one, he was too good of a villain, and two, it possibly might take away from like some Homelander stuff in this next season. He was too good and too smart. I just feel like at the end, they didn't fumble the character in my opinion, but they like his whole how he got took out was like all on him. You know what I'm saying? But overall, like I said, really enjoyed this season, man. I like this season and how it set up things for the future. Kind of wondering how strong Marie's going to be, or how big of a role they're going to give her in this next season, because we already know she's probably one of the most powerful supes in history. But typically when a character comes from like a spinoff, I don't know how much they utilize them for the main storyline, especially with all the characters that are already established in The Boys. I just hope that they don't like nerf her because that, like, you know, she's joining in that. It's gonna be weird. It's gonna be weird because I mean we already got a lot of storylines going into season 5 of The Boys, and then obviously it's the ending. But I think at this point we pretty much can say we connected with these characters. Kate has her powers back. Forgot to mention that as well. Like, we have a lot of stuff going in. Now, I'm not gonna lie, Annabelle probably should have just dipped. If I'm Annabelle, I'm dipping. I love you, sis, but I'm out of here. I'm not built for this shit. I'm sorry. I can go back and just live a normal life. I probably would have went and did that and just trained on my own. I'm not finna be up in this shit where I'm possibly finna die for. And I don't like that. That's the only thing. I'm not gonna lie. If she said she didn't want to leave her sister again, that'll be one thing, but she just kind of like, I'm dying for this. That's not believable to me, especially not given the life that she's living. But then again, maybe situations like this change people completely. I don't know. Never been in a situation like this, fortunately. But yeah, you guys let me know what y'all thought about the episode down in the comments. Hit that like button, subscribe to my channel. Let me know what you're looking forward to in the final season of The Boys, and I'll catch up with you guys later. Peace.